FNAF 1 through 4 animatronic difficulty tier list. For FNAF 1, there's nothing really that hard about this, but I put for the bottom of the list to be Bonnie, because Bonnie is not that hard. You might get caught up in some other thing and Bonnie might catch you by surprise, but out of all, Bonnie is actually one of the least threatening characters on this list. Number 4 is Golden Freddy. When he pops up, he might take you by surprise, but he's not that much of an issue. I mean, he's not the character you would plan to see, but he is not hard. Alright, next one would be Chica. Chica was put so far ahead of Bonnie, even though they had the same mechanic, because other things can catch you up, and Chica can completely miss you, especially because you can mishear things from the kitchen, and you think it's Chica, but it's not. I've done that a couple of times, and Chica's actually been, closer or farther to me, and I've made that mistake, and yeah. Next up would be Foxy. Foxy would take many players by surprise because of how he runs to the door and jets to the door. Some people don't even have enough time or reaction time to go ahead and close the door. By the time they already think about closing the door, Foxy is already shown up, which could be an issue. And the hardest on this list would be Freddy. Freddy is really one of those characters that only come at the end because they're the hardest ones to deal with. Now, I would think, Foxy would be harder, but since Freddy is one of the end characters, and you're kind of focused on everyone else because by the time Freddy comes, you're used to everyone else and you're moving and you kind of forget about Freddy, or it's just it's another animatronic to deal with. Especially, it's hard to not lose all your power. So it is very difficult. On to the long list I have for FNAF 2. At the bottom of this list, as the easiest animatronic on this list, would be Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy wasn't that high on the FNAF 1 tier list because he is not one of the characters you would expect to see a whole lot. But you know what to do with him. You might miss it a couple of times and it might be a little difficult. And I might have misplaced him on this list, but he's not that bad. Next up would be Balloon Boy. He's not as hard as Golden Freddy. You might see him like many YouTubers have done. I've watched them see Balloon Boy and not do anything. I've seen them just see Balloon Boy, but don't put on the mask, don't even try to flash the light, and they just don't do anything, which is weird. And that's why I put him so, it's high for him. He should have been low. He should have been the bottom on this list. But I've seen so many people just, ugh. Next up would actually be a tie for 6th place, I believe. Nope, it would be a tie for 5th place on this list. It would be Toy Chica and Toy Bonnie. I know I put them pretty low on this list, but it's because there are other animatronics that are way harder, and I feel that these should obviously be put above Golden Freddy and Balloon Boy, but I couldn't seem to budge myself to put them higher on this list because they're not that hard. I mean, they are difficult. Me being not the experienced player, they are hard. And especially on Ultimate Custom Night, they can become an issue. But for FNAF 2, they're not much of an issue, but still an issue. Similar to Ultimate Custom Night, FNAF 2 has a whole lot of characters. So if you're not paying attention, this could literally catch you off guard and screw everything up. Now for the 4 animatronics that are tied for 4th place. This being Withered Freddy, Withered Chica, Withered Bonnie, and Toy Freddy. All of these work the same, although Withered Freddy is the only animatronic that is one of the newer sets of animatronics that does still work like the older animatronics or the withered animatronics. Those of you who don't know, the withered animatronics are just the FNAF 1 animatronics, but they have been through a little bit, and they are different model because they have it's later, and they look different. So the withered animatronics are just the old animatronics, but just they went through pressure and time and whatever. Toy Freddy, however, is one of the newer animatronics in this time. So Toy Freddy, you would expect would work like one of the older animatronics, but no, it works like the same one. In the same way, Withered Foxy is the only one of the old animatronics to not work like the older animatronics, which is cool. But now to get to the actual difficulty of these 4 animatronics. These are hard. And I've seen Think Noodles and other YouTubers screw up because these animatronics work so fast and you literally can't blink. They will show up and they will turn big and they will scare me so bad that I may even forget what I'm doing and pull up the cameras. And, it can mess you up really bad because you think you've beaten them, but it's like, nah, which is really, really hard. Crazy how that animatronic is not as near complicated as this next animatronic, yet this animatronic gets so many people rather than Withered Freddy, Withered Chica, Withered Bonnie, and Toy Freddy. People fall to Puppet so many times, and the mechanic is not even that it's not even that complex. It's easy. You just have to wind up the music box so that Puppet won't get you. And I'm literally saying that the mechanic is easy to understand, but the mechanic is hard because there's so many other animatronics like Withered Freddy, Withered Chicken, Withered Bonnie, Withered Freddy. I was about to say Withered Toy Freddy today, but there's so many other animatronics to worry about, and Puppet is just added stress, and people die to Puppet so often because of that, which is why she's so hard on this list. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Withered Foxy is the next one on this list because, what the heck, dude? Toy Balloon Boy. What? Balloon Boy and Withered Foxy are a bad combo because you have to use a flashlight to make Withered Foxy go away. But Balloon Boy disables your flashlight, so you can't use it. And of course, Withered Foxy's jump scare just stops everything you're doing. Not only does it kill you, but it messes up your whole mindset, which is insane. Now, the top one on this list, the most difficult one, is the one you haven't seen yet, which you can tell is Mangle. Mangle is the most difficult character out of all this list because I couldn't figure out, and many other YouTubers couldn't figure out how she works. We flashed the flashlight in the vents, nothing works. We've tried putting on the mask, but she just stays on that ceiling, and we don't know what to do. It's so weird, and it's hard, and I don't know how she works. Because not only are you worried about her jump scaring you out of nowhere, but you also have so much other stuff to worry about. It's scary, and it kind of messes up everything you're trying to do. Moving on to FNAF 3. On the bottom of this list would be Phantom Puppet. Phantom Puppet is one of the easier sides of the animatronics, but it can still mess up your whole game if you're not careful. This animatronic is the hardest to deal with, yet the easiest. It's so easy to survive her, but it's so hard for if you messed up with her, it's so hard to recover your game after she just stands in front of you for like 17 seconds. It sucks to fall for her. She is one of the suckiest animatronics here. Yeah. Phantom Freddy. Now, I did not know anything about Phantom Freddy because of the version I played. Phantom Freddy was the rarest animatronic to get, and Phantom Puppet was also very rare. You would see Phantom Chica, Phantom Foxy, Phantom Balloon Boy, and Springtrap almost all the time as well. I mean, Springtrap was automatic, but whatever. Phantom Freddy I never got to really experience, but I knew if I saw him in the actual game, it would scare the living heck out of me, as all of the Phantom animatronics do. But this one would just creep me out, because I would see him there, I like all the animatronics, I would know you would jump scare me, but I would just jump out of my seat, go flying to the airport, and fly next to one of the airplanes. You know what I'm saying? It's scary, and it messes up your whole game too. So you gotta be careful. Phantom Mangle was not in this list that I added because I forgot to slide her in here, so I'm just gonna put it right here. Phantom Mangle is not too much of a problem. It's kind of creepy because of the noise disturbance and all, but it's not that bad. Now here's where we slide into the harder side of the FNAF 3 animatronics. Phantom Chica is one of the more difficult animatronics. I mean, you know she's there, but you just have to check on that camera. You know what I'm saying? It sucks. And I don't know, like, the timings, you can't stay on a camera where each one of them are at for each amount of seconds, but sometimes you don't know where Springtrap is and you go searching, and Phantom Chica is one of the animatronics that will get you. And she'll walk in, but just the sight of her face just right next to the screen or whatever device you're playing, it's just like, you know, it's just one of those moments that are like, holy moly, what is going on? And like all the Phantom animatronics, this can screw you up in everything you're trying to do. You know, because it can scare you, especially with the ones that have actual jump scares that are not just standing there. Yeah, I'm talking about your Phantom Puppet. And Phantom Mangle. But really, the next one on this list, Phantom Foxy. Phantom Foxy is one of the scariest characters on this list. Because you know in FNAF 2, you're always used to Foxy jumping at you. It's Mangle jumping at you. It's Puppet jumping at you. And it's all scary. But then the jumping action has transitioned to the third game. Okay. Wow. So Foxy just jumps at me and it screws up everything I'm thinking in my head. So I'm thinking, reset the system, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta check the system, but I need to reset the system first, and I'm not even thinking anymore. Now the next one on this list would be Phantom BB. Phantom Balloon Boy is one of the other characters on this list that you see in many other games, but can't seem to stop getting jump scared from. It catches you so off guard, and it kind of like screws up what you're doing. You see him. I know, because like I've seen him in cameras, and I know he's about to jump scare me, but I can't think to change the cameras. Because my brain is like, do something, and then the other half of my brain is like, cannot compute, too less time, freaking out, cannot compute, not able to change cameras or flip down the camera, just gotta let him jump scare me. And his jump scare also screws up everything I'm thinking of and just basically lets Springtrap right into my room. And of course, the only animatronic that can kill you in FNAF 3 is at the top of the list, Springtrap. He is difficult, and he's an animatronic that all this is revolving around. And it's difficult to keep him away from you because of all the FNAF animatronics. Now, all the other animatronics were made to distract you, so that's gonna be hard to keep up with the person that's trying to kill you. Now to the final game of this video, FNAF 4. Now this has a small amount of characters based on FNAF 2 and 3. So I'm just gonna go through this a little quick. The bottom on this list, aka the easiest to deal with, would probably be Nightmare Freddy. Nightmare Freddy and the Freddles are literally one of the easiest ones to deal with because running to the door and doing all that other stuff is kind of complicated because you have to check on everyone down there. Maybe you may forget to worry about Nightmare Freddy, but it's one of the things you have to do. And you make sure you have to do, but it can catch you off guard. But compared to the other people on this list, I did find it fitting at the bottom. Nightmare Foxy is definitely one of the scarier ends. Because if he gets to a certain state and he jump scares you, just the jump scare sound and the simple movement is like, oh my gosh. And he may be one of the animatronics that you forget about, but he's not too hard. I mean, you don't have to run to his door and you don't have to flick the flashlight or whatever. He's pretty easy, but also a little bit hard at the same time. Now, next on this list would be the 2 Tires, which would do the same thing in this. Nightmare Chica and Nightmare Bunny. These 2 characters do the exact same thing, although I found Chica to be a little bit harder since, I don't know, it's kind of creepier, but they are tied for second place as hardest goes. And now, time for the hardest animatronic in FNAF 4. The last animatronic of this video, Nightmare Fredbear. Nightmare Fredbear is definitely one of the hardest animatronics ever. It has such a complicated-ish, it is such a complicated mechanic. It's kind of weird. You can't, I don't know. Google is telling me you have to flash your flashlight at it for it to go away. But I thought you had to close the door, and it's kind of confusing me because the gameplay I watched, you had to close the door. And it's kind of weird. It's not because of Google or anything that I put this so high, but it's because it's kind of scary. Because it's that tense moment that it's either you're surviving, you get a little bit of relief, or you're completely dead and you're just waiting for the jump scare. And it's scary. And you don't know if it's right behind you, and if it's behind you, you're like, ah! And you spend so much time surprised that you may not do anything, and it may lead to your jump scare or death. But anyways, hope you guys liked the video, and subscribe for more. Like the video to let me know that you liked it, and comment to give me more video ideas. Bye!